Books Natasha. Today I'm filming in a different setting because I just felt like it, and I'm sorry about the lighting. It's just I'm using natural lighting today and it's kind of cloudy outside, so if it's a little weird, I'm sorry. So without any further ado, let's just get straight into the video. In October I read 25 books and I had so much fun. This year it wasn't the best for me because usually around October I read spooky books, thrillers and all that, but this year I just didn't feel like it. I had the worst possible mood. Also I got sick, so that's a big part of it. So I just went with my current mood and books that I really wanted to read. So that's the books that you will find in this list. Sorry about the reflection on my glasses, it's just I really needed to wear them, but I will not keep it for the entirety of the video, so please deal with that. The first book that I read in the month of October was The Steel King by David Perry. This is the first book in the Clifton Ford series and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This book follows this reporter which we meet in the Jameson Valley series in brief, specifically in the book Outpost. So I don't remember the names, I'm sorry, but she moves back into her hometown to work on her father's newspaper basically, and because she doesn't want to be a reporter in front of the camera anymore, she wants to be chasing a story and all of that stuff. So she wants to expose this motorcycle gang in her town and the reason why they stop doing illegal stuff. So she tries to get closer to them, and then she ends up trying to clear them from some murders that happen in the town. She and the guy, the love interest in this one called Dash, who also we meet in the cover chapter because he's Nick's brother. So there is this whole situation. But other than those two facts, the stories aren't really connected, so you can definitely read this one and not read the Jameson Valley or vice versa. So this book was quite spicy and I didn't expect that. It was quite interesting, had a lot of banter, humor, and it was sort of an enemies to lovers situation which I loved, and I had really fun time reading it. Next, I finally read The Simple Why by K.A. Tucker, which I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars, and this one was such a unique read. It's not like I have ever read something like that before. We see this girl who lives in Chicago, I believe, or New York, one of the two, and she has quite an extravagant life. She just got fired from her work, so she has a lot of time on her hands, and she just loves the city. She loves dressing up and all that stuff. So after hearing that her father is sick with cancer, doesn't have loans, and she decides to go back home and try to reconnect with him because they don't have the best relationship. Her mother used to live with him in Alaska, and it's a really remote place, but she couldn't deal with the fact that she was alone so much and moved back into town and broke up with him. So our heroine doesn't have a relationship with her father, and she wants to go back and try to have one before he dies, and that's where she meets Jonah, and he's like this super hot Yeti pilot, and we see them antagonize each other a lot. He thinks that she's like the city girl who doesn't really have a personality and is really shallow, and she has a deep hatred towards all pilots because of her father and how his relationship with her mother ended up. But they become become super close over time. She begins to rely on him because they have similar backgrounds, and he helps her navigate her relationship with her father because he knows him really well. And yes, they end up falling in love, but they're not sure where this is gonna go because she doesn't see herself living in Alaska. But so yeah, they end up kissing, but they are in the wondering where this can go. But yeah, they decide to be in a relationship as long as she's here and just see where this goes. And yeah, I really did love this book. It was such an emotional story. I love watching Kayla and her father connect. It was such a sweet relationship, and I love watching her relationship with Jonah. It was super fun to watch. So yeah, next I read Wild at Heart. This is book number 2 in the Wild series by K.A. Tucker, which I gave 4 stars. This book I didn't like as much as the first one, because in this one we see Kayla and Jonah moving together in a new part of Alaska, I believe again. Yes, and basically they live alone in a cabin in the woods, and because Jonah is away a lot from home, flying and stuff from his new charter company, and then he started working as a fireman, and basically Kelly is alone at home a lot, and she begins to drive herself crazy, and at one time she basically snaps and they have this huge fight, and Jonah realizes that she has a lot of stuff bottled up. And yeah, so in this part of the series we see them navigate the relationship in this new place and find themselves apart from each other. Basically there is a lot of fighting, there is a lot of miscommunication and a lot of that stuff, which I hate. So that's one of the reasons which I gave this book 4 stars, but at the end everything is resolved in a really good manner. Also we get introduced to a lot of new characters in this book, and I had a really good time reading it. Next I read Forever Wild. This is a novella set in the Wild series, and it's like a Christmas novella taking part a little after book 2 ended, and I gave it 4.5 stars. I really did enjoy this one. We see John and Kayla have the first holidays in the cabin. 2 sets of parents are coming. Characters from the first book are also coming. There is a surprise wedding and a lot of stuff that happen, and I love it. I also love watching John and Kayla and their lives together, how they are finally in a good place together. Kayla has her own stuff and John has his own, and they're happy together even though they are in the middle of nowhere. And at the end we get a really nice development, which the characters from the first book decide to move where they are. Kayla also decides to renovate and build cabins around their property so that they can have family move and stay there wherever they want or visit, so that's nice. I also loved Roy. It's the next door neighbor, and I love this sort of fatherly relationship that he has with Kayla, and it's just really nice. Next, I reread Indigo Ridge by Devin Perry. This is book number 1 in the Indian series, and again I gave it 4 stars. I don't know why, even though this is a 4-star series for me, I don't connect as much with the Jameson Valley series, but still, I love rereading these books. I have no idea why, I just love it so much. And like I said before, this book follows Griffin and I can't remember the woman's name. It's at the tip of my brain, but I'm sorry, but it will come to me. But yeah, she basically moves back home where she used to live with her parents, and now her grandfather lives there. So she got the sheriff's job, so she tries to navigate that. But she has this one-night stand with someone who believed to be a tourist, and vice versa. And then they end up meeting each other, and we found out that Griffin is actually a big part of this town, and now this girl is also a big part of the town, so this can never happen. But their attraction is scorching, so every time they're together, they're like super into one another. So at one point, Griffin says fuck it and kisses her, and it's like amazing. Then they start to sleep together, and more they begin to know one another, and then they decide that they are only with each other and try their best to work out this relationship, and I just love that. With the Eden series, I reread Juniper Hill, which I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. Again, this book follows Knox and Memphis, and I love that. I really love single parent books, and that's why I love this one a little bit more than the first one. Memphis moves to live into an apartment up from Knox's house, because she found a job at Eloise's hotel, and basically they began to form this neighbor relationship. And then Knox really helps her out with her son because she cries a lot, and Knox is the one who can calm him down at night. So it's not that they become closer and closer until one night Knox can't deny his attraction anymore, even though there is a risk of his heart getting broken. He decides to kiss Memphis and confess how he's feeling. They start to date, and it's incredible. Also, we have a kidnapping in this one, and it was super interesting to read about. I also loved how Knox had lost a child before and found his family now with Memphis and her son, and it was just incredible. Next, we have Attack on Titan Volume 6, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars, and I loved it so much. I am having so much fun being back into this world, this character, the story. It's breaking my heart all over again, and just watching Reiner, Berto, and Annie, it makes me so mad because of what is to come in later volumes and in the story. But even though I really love this series, I have decided to drop the manga. Not to say that I don't love Attack on Titan, because it is one of my favorite stories of all time, but I just don't see the point of reading 36 volumes just so I can get to the last one, because we have the anime, so I can just watch it and be fully immersed in it. So I will drop it, but that doesn't say anything towards the manga or the story or the characters or anything. It's just me that I just don't see, I'm not in the mood to read so much of a story where I could just read a new manga, a new story, and fall in love and just keep rewatching the anime. So that is my opinion. Next, I reread Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. This is book number 1 in Kingdom of the Wicked series, and this will be my third reread of this particular book. And I read this one in preparation for Kingdom of the Feared, and I'm so glad I did because I barely remember anything from the first book. I had so much fun watching Emilia and Wrath meet again, and the deal also meeting all the princes, each and every one of them by slowly in the story. Also the stuff with her sister, the witches and all that stuff. It was super interesting. Also, I barely remember anything. That totally surprised me because it was like reading the book for the first time all over again, and it was super fun. But if you really want to check all my thoughts and stuff, I have a reading vlog. I'll put the link up here or at the end of this video. Keep watching. But yeah, I had a lot of fun reading it. I'm sorry I got mixed up. I gave this book 4 stars. I continue with Kingdom of the Curse, which is book number 2 in this Kingdom of the Wicked series, and I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. This one was a little bit more plot-wise, action-packed, and it had a lot more development in emotional aspect with Wrath and Emilia. I love watching them deny their feelings, but also being super attracted to one another. We see Wrath have a lot of secrets from Emilia, and Emilia struggling with the fact that someone is sending her these animated skulls with rituals that will help her to understand what is going on. But we see Emilia navigate all of that stuff and try to find answers for what happened with her sister, with a prince that she's supposed to marry, how her life is going to be from now on because she's now in hell. So yeah, it's way more interesting than the first one. I read Kingdom of the Fear, which is book number 3 of Kingdom of the Wicked series, and that is the final book in the series, and it has to be my favorite one. I gave it 4.75 out of 5 stars, but it might be a 5 star. I still haven't decided. But in this one, we find out so much stuff I will try not to spoil, but no promises, so if you want to skip ahead. But in this one, we finally see Wrath and Lily be together and accept that they have feelings for one another. Also, we find out that Victoria is actually alive, and she's actually is a part of House Vengeance with Emilio, and Emilia is actual vengeance and Victoria's death. So that is wow. They are also the children of the crown, which we have met before, and we found out that actually that the witches are the evils in the story. So I did not expect that. Also, found out my favorite part of the story is that Emilia fell in love with Wrath all over again and was prepared to sacrifice everything in her life for him again, and I just love that. I cried so much at the end of the book. I love the ending so much. I just can't wait for the next series that Katie Maniscalco decides to write, because she's incredible. Even though this was a 4-star series for me, I had super fun time reading it, and I highly recommend everyone reading it, especially the 3rd book. It's amazing. This next book was my most anticipated release of the year, and I finally made the decision to finally finish it, and that is The Ballad of Never After. This is book number 2 in Once Upon a Broken Heart series by Stephanie Garber. And I started reading this book in September, and I was procrastinating a lot with finishing it, because I kept seeing reviews of people crying and screaming and saying that this ending broke them in ways they have never felt before. And I completely agree, and I'm so happy that I took my time with it. Even though I loved every chapter that I read with Jax and Evangeline, it just, I wasn't in the right state of mind to have my heart broken again. I still haven't recovered from the origin, as many of you know, but yeah. This book, needless to say, gets 5 out of 5 stars. I'm trying not to spoil you, but the ending is heartbreaking. There's no choice about it. It's cruel, and I just need the next book. I'm so happy that Stephanie Garber has announced that there is actually going to be a 3rd book, but we have no idea if it's going to be the last one or if there is going to be more. But yeah, we finally find out what Jax wants to open the Valor. We see him actually meet his parents, which I love. We see how he truly feels, and then everything went to shit. And I say that because it's true. It's actually so much true. I knew I hated Apollo for a good reason. That's all I'm gonna say, because ever since he was introduced, I was like, this guy is too good to be true. He's like super sweet, and that just isn't true with many books. So I was suspicious of him. So I'm so glad I was right, but at the same time, why would I have to be right? I mean, you know what I mean, but still. So yeah, I can't wait for reading the next book. Incredible books. I finally read A Shadow in the Ember. This is book number 1 in the Flesh on Fire spin-off series by Jennifer Armentrout. This is a prequel to the From Blood and Ash series, following Serafina and Nyktos. Nyktos is the primal of death, and we get glimpses of him and Serafina, known as the consort, in the From Blood and Ash series, but this one it's quite similar. In the 1st book in the From Blood and Ash series, we have this chosen one, Maiden, that it has been chosen since birth to marry Nyktos so she can end this plague that is plaguing their lands. So yeah, finally time comes, but Nyktos says he is no need of a consort and leaves. And then Serafina is treated like super terrible. She's disgraced. They blame her for all the deaths of the stuff that has happened. But yes, she keeps getting trained and all that. She basically she's treated like an assassin or a princess or a chosen one anymore. But yes, and one night she meets this guy, Ash, and she knows he's a god. He saves her from being killed from some other gods, and basically it's instant chemistry, but it is done in such a good way. We see them keep getting tangled with one another because they investigate the deaths of some humans. So yeah, we see them being super attracted to one another and act on it. But then we found out that Ash is actually Nyktos, and when he comes to save her from being whipped by her stepbrother, and he claims her, then he takes her in his realm to get married. So that's where most of the revelations happen by the end of the book, which was insane. And I just can't wait for the Lighting the Flame coming out in 1 week. It's gonna be amazing. I'm already ready. I'm super ready to buy the ebook, get the ebook, because I just can't wait for the paperback to come out. It's gonna be a long time, so I really want to read it, so definitely the ebook. Now let's talk for some manga. I decided to start reading Watakoi Love is Hard for an Otaku after watching the anime, and I had super fun time reading it, and I gave it 4 stars. It was super fun. I loved watching the author's take on gaming and how it discriminates people, also otakus, because I am one who love mangas, anime, BL, and how they need to hide most of that stuff because of how people judge. So yeah, it's I love watching that. I love the 3 couples relationships. My favorite is Hirotaka and Narumi. They are the cutest. I love the ending of this series. It was incredible. Just want to keep reading more because I really need more. Let's hope the author provides. So yeah, I read all 11 volumes this month, and I gave most of them 4 stars, others 4.5, and I had super fun time reading it. And my favorite one has to be the last one, because we see finally Hirotaka and Narumi kiss, and it was incredible. I loved it so much. I'm not gonna talk about each and every one volumes because I don't want to spoil you guys, but definitely read it. If you don't want to read it, definitely watch the anime. It's super fun, cute, a workplace romance, and you're gonna love it. Next, I read Empire of Stones. This is book number 5 in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I read it at the same time as Tower of Dawn, and I will talk about that in the next clip, but Empire of Stones left me heartbroken, crying, a sobbing mess. I'm still thinking about the ending and cry. It was just cruel. I mean, Sarah J. Maas, why are you doing this to me? She keeps destroying my heart. First with the Avatar series in book 3, you know, then with Crescent City, book number 1, and now Throne of Glass. I mean, I just keep getting my heart broken, and again I keep reading her books. I mean, what does that say about me? I don't know, but yeah. I'm trying not to spoil too much because this is the 5th book in the series, but in the previous book we have our group has split up. We have Kaol and Nesrin, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, go to the in another continent to help heal him, and we have our group, Rowan, Eileen, Lysandra, Adion, and some other people to go and to Terrazen and raise an army basically. But their plans are intercepted by some gods, made them go on a search for some stuff. I'm trying not to spoil something. But we finally have Manon join our group, and that made me so happy. And Rowan and Eileen are in a good place in their relationship despite all the turbulence around us. But yeah, I don't know what else to say without spoiling, so I'm just gonna stop here. As I said before, I read Tower of Dawn, book number 6 in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, and this I gave 4 stars. I know many people aren't happy with this book, they don't see the point to it, but I really did enjoy reading it. I felt like Kaol really needed this book to finally move past all the stuff that happened, to him in the previous book, all the trauma that he's been through, and finally he met someone that will love him and he will love with all his heart, Irene, and they are perfect together. The ending of this book really felt right, even though some people say why couldn't just be she healed him, but I felt that this was a really good decision on Sergeant Ma's part, because this I'm trying to describe what this connection between them really is special, and that just deepens their love, and I just love it so much. If I have something to confess about this book, is I kinda skimmed read Nesri's chapters. I have no desire to read from her POV. I just read like a few lines really good, and I'm happy I did because I found something out that we didn't know. But other than that, I don't like her. And my friend told me that it's kind of okay if you skim through her chapters. It's not really important, but I will watch a spoilery review just to be safe before I start Kingdom of Us, which I will probably do November or December. It depends how fast I will finish Lighting the Flame, but we'll see. Next, I started reading a new manga series, and that is Lovesick Ellie, which I finished just last night. And for this wrap up, I will talk about volumes 1, 2, and 3. I read 3 volumes, all 3 I gave 5 stars. I really love Ellie and Omikun's relationship. They are the sweetest. Also, I love how Ellie is such a perfect girl, and Omikun is just this cold character, but with everyone around him, she's like super warm and fuzzy. But with Ellie, she's like his true self, and I just love that. We see them getting roped into each other's way. Then we see him find out the truth about Ellie's identity, because she has this Twitter account which we post fantasies about him, and he finds out, and it's like the best thing ever. Also, we see them start a date, and it's incredible. They are so cute and adorable, and you guys definitely need to read this series. It is complete. There are 12 volumes out there, so keep in mind that and have fun. Next, I reread The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Again, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I really wanted to read this book and annotate it, and I did annotate some of it, but then I got so invested into the story that I just finished it in like one sitting, and I had so much fun reading this book. It is one of my favorites, and I just love Adam and Ollie's relationship. I love the ending. I love everything about this book. I really wanted to see them, like, I don't know, I just wanted more content from them. It's like 300 pages book. It's not enough for me. I wanted like 500 pages for them, but still, it was so good. I just love it. You guys definitely read it. This book totally deserves the hype. Those who gave it 1 star don't know what they're talking about, but again, everyone is entitled to their opinions. So next, my BL manga reading mood came back, so I decided to read this one-shot manga called I'm Looking for Serious Love, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Keep in mind that there is quite mature content in this one, but for me it was like okay, because I have read Therapy Games, so yeah. But this one was, we see this boy who has just moved into Tokyo to go to school in college, and he's from the countryside. That's where he meets his neighbor, this super hot guy that is his senpai, I believe. So yeah, the senpai is super attracted to him because he likes super cute and adorable. And then we see the smaller one basically get into this awkward situation with his childhood best friend, and then he's there to help him, and I just love that. Then we see them get together, and it's like incredible. I loved it so much. 5 out of 5 stars. This was just exactly the story that I needed, because I really want something like therapy to be a game, but I really want something cute as well. But I'm so happy that I found this one. I'm hoping the author will publish more volumes, but I did some research and apparently this is a one-shot, so I don't see it happening. Speaking of therapy game, I finally read Therapy Game Restart Volume 1 and 2, and this is like a continuation to the Therapy Game story with Suzuma and I can't say the other guy's name, I'm so sorry, but we see them get into this new part of their relationship. Suzuma is super busy working as a vet in this new hospital, and she doesn't get to spend so much time with his boyfriend. So we see them being like super sad and lonely, and yeah, but when they're together, it's still perfection. I love it, and I had so much fun reading it, and I'm so happy that the restart version is not finished and it's going to have more volumes, because I definitely need to read more of this couple. They are incredible, the story, the characters, everything. Speaking of the therapy game again, I read the prequel, which is Secret XXX, which I gave 3 stars. This wasn't my favorite. It was fun watching the relationship between Suzuma's brother and the other guy's brother, which is like an age gap workplace romance situation. They are super adorable and cute together, which I love, but I really wanted like more content, which because in the beginning of the volume we see them already dating, already sleeping together and all that stuff, being open out in the open with the relationship, but I really want to see how they got together and all that stuff, because that will be the really cute part in the story. But still, if there are going to be more volumes with these 2 characters, I will definitely read them. But I think there aren't any. This is again, I think, one shot, but don't quote me on that, I'm not sure. Wow, I have been talking for a long time. It's so dark outside, that's why the quality of this video has turned downwards. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, I had so much fun talking about you guys, about all these different books. And yeah, so like, subscribe, and stick around. I post new videos every Wednesday, and I will see you for my next video very soon. Bye!